So I know we've all heard about the Sonoff RF bridge at 433 megahertz. Well, what about all the Zigbee sensors and everything in the world? Well, let's check out the Sonoff Zigbee Bridge. So I'm always excited to see the new Sonoff products that we have out there. Some pretty good, some of them not so great, of course, that we've covered, but hey, you can't hit them all the time. Of course, we're very familiar with this one, the Sonoff RF Bridge. We've covered that before in a previous video. Pretty cool little device. It's 433 megahertz. If you haven't checked that video out, we'll leave it down in the description down below. The one that steals the show is going to be the white Sonoff Bridge. And why is this one important? Well, it's the Zigbee Bridge. Instead of the RF bridge, this is going to use your standard Zigbee devices to pair with. Now, Sonoff has a couple different devices that are already Zigbee. Now, of course, the one that they have kind of brought them to the dance that I feel is the Sonoff Basic. Well, this one is the Sonoff Basic ZBR3, meaning it's the Zigbee DIY smart switch. Being Zigbee, I'm not sure why they call it DIY, but it does look like your standard Sonoff Basic for the R3 model. But of course, it has a Zigbee radio in. And of course, they have the Sonoff S31, which we love, but take note, this is the S31 Lite ZB for Zigbee. So all the things Zigbee, of course. Now Zigbee, you're really not going to be doing any firmware flashing or anything like that. And you're going to basically just be pairing it up and calling it a day. Now this one doesn't have the power monitoring, but of course it does work with various other products, such as even SmartThings. So what if you want to control stuff without SmartThings? You want to use the eWeLink app. Well, that's where this thing comes into play. Pretty simple device. It does look pretty much the same as the Sonoff RF bridge, but of course it's the white color instead of the black. It does have the two LEDs. You do have the little micro USB along with the pairing button on the back. And of course, they probably didn't want me to do this, but oh well. You know, on this channel, we're definitely going to take things apart because we want to dive into the insides of things and see what makes them tick. So if you're watching this Sonoff, you should probably shut your eyes about now or fast forward. And open it right up. And take the spudger and hopefully don't break this when we pull it out of here. So this is where things definitely change between the Zigbee version and the RF version. And of course, the RF version has the ESP chip as well as the Zigbee version. But of course, this video is not about the RF bridge. It's about the Zigbee bridge. Definitely a lot less to this board. So let's take a closer look at this guy. So this is the hardware version 1.0. Looks like they developed this back around Christmas time of last year. There's your button on the side. There's your power input. Looks like the voltage regulator is probably stepping it down from the 5 volts to 3.3 volts. You got the ESP chip and the memory chip, and really got the two LEDs. And then you have, it looks kind of like one of those little Tuya boards with the RF case taken off of it, but of course it's got a much different chipset inside. This is going to be for the Zigbee. So one thing I give them props for is doing the ESP chip again, because it definitely allows us to possibly reverse engineer this in the future to do something with some custom firmware. But this is cool. It's a one little stop shop, simple to go solution with Zigbee, much like their RF bridge was. Now looking on the back, there's not a whole lot on the back. They do have things labeled on the back, and the E, based off of what they did on some of their other products, the E is referencing the ESP chip. So you've got the ETX and RX, you got 3.3 volts, you've got the key, which is typically GPIO 0, there's 5 volts. The Z, I'm guessing that's the Zigbee reset. And I saw this, there was clock and SDA, like that's the I2C for some reason. But we'll definitely take some more digging in to see that. Now, I guess I am possibly wrong. The key is actually going to be the button, which might not actually be on GPIO 0, but they did label GPIO 0 for us out there, so that's good. And hopefully this one will help you out. It's the MG21 chipset, along with some other numbers, so you can just go ahead and pause the video if you'd like to start doing your research on this chip. So pretty cool platform for this. Nice little solution of a Wi-Fi to Zigbee bridge that you can place anywhere around the house, and it does come with a case, and you just got to power it up with USB and you're done. So hopefully we can flash this and get this going with Tasmodo or some sort of other open source firmware in the future. And of course, we'll leave the links down below if you'd like to pick up yours and start doing some digging and reverse engineering on this guy. As the recording of this video, we are using the newer version of the iWeLink app to pair this up, and it is pretty simple to pair up. You just go into the iWeLink app, power up the Zigbee bridge with the USB power, simply add it to your Wi-Fi. Do make sure you are using an SSID that is 2.4 gigahertz. It's not going to work on an SSID that's just 5 gigahertz given because this is just that ESP chip. Now, once you get it open, you'll see that it does have 0 devices, saying the child devices. Now, one thing I did kind of get confused at times, I wanted to hit add down below it, but that's going to add other Wi-Fi and other different devices, such as like a Sonoff Basic or whatever that are Wi-Fi based. What you'll want to do is click on the actual Zigbee bridge and then hit add inside of there, and that puts the Zigbee bridge into pairing mode, and you don't really need to even use that button on the Zigbee bridge at all. Now here we are, we're using a little Tuya device that was a Tuya Zigbee temperature and humidity sensor, and it does report every so often just to conserve battery. And to my surprise, the little Zigbee sensor paired right up without any issue. Now, it did take a little bit for the temperature and humidity to come across, but I'm guessing that's probably due to the Zigbee device. It's actually conserving power. One thing I did notice, I was not able to find a way in the app to change it to the F word that some countries use. So it's just showing Celsius, but that's not an issue. I'm sure that they'll definitely correct that when they actually do get temperature sensors from actual Sonoff itself. Same thing pairing up other sensors. Just on these type of sensors, this is another little door sensor, and I just held down the buttons for 5 seconds. It puts it into pairing mode. Now your mileage may vary based on what sensors you're adding, and it just pairs right up with it and comes in as a right sensor. And then we did also add the Sonoff S31. Now remember, it does not have power monitoring because it's an S31 Lite Zigbee version, but it does allow you to control a lamp or whatever type of other device you want to plug into it. Now we just chose a lamp for the recording of this video, as we went through and added an automation based off of the door sensor, where when the door sensor opens, and then the lamp turns on, and then when the door sensor closes, the lamp turns right back off. Pretty simple to do, all straight in the app, and as you can see, the speed is not too bad. I mean, it's not as fast as, say, a Wise sensor doing the open and close like we've shown in a previous video, but hey, it does work a lot better than some other Wi-Fi type of door sensors or flood sensors. But that's just the nature of the beast with Zigbee, and that's no comparison because the Wi-Fi devices actually have to wake up, get an IP address, get on, and then drop their message in, when Zigbee is actually meant for this being battery powered, and it's just real quick to drop its message to the bridge. Now I did try to pair this up with the Home Assistant custom component that does allow you to control your Sonoff devices without flashing them. Of course, we don't have this flashed yet. It did bring it into the JSON file, but I couldn't get it to come into Home Assistant itself, probably just because it's too new of a device and it's just not supported by that plugin just yet. And Sonoff, if you're watching, you've redesigned this iWeLink app. It does look a lot better, but one thing you should have put in there is the dark mode. Everything has been changing, at least in the Android world, that allows us to change from light and dark backgrounds so we don't get blinded by big white backgrounds. Put that dark mode in there. We'll much appreciate it. So that's all there is to the Zigbee Bridge. Pretty simple device. Hopefully we can dive into it a little more and put Tasmodo or some type of other open source firmware on it and really just definitely take it out of the cloud and possibly even open it up a little further maybe, such as to maybe do some additional light bulbs. So of course we'll leave the links down below on where to get yours. And I do appreciate all the Patreon subscribers. It does help bring new projects and new products to the channel each week. I appreciate it. Thank you. And in case you're wondering, no, we haven't canceled that smart home series. We do plan on bringing a few more episodes of that, but things have just been delayed with the current situation that shall not be named. Y'all stay safe out there. Thanks for watching, and y'all take care.